Greetings, neighbors. This is Reflections, a program sponsored by the Paducah Cooperative Ministry, where we, all of us together, do God's work with human hands. My name is Gregory Waldrop, and I'm the pastor at Fountain Avenue United Methodist Church, and I'm one of your co-hosts for today's program. I'm joined by Heidi Suhrheinrich, who is the executive director at the Paducah Cooperative Ministry. Welcome, Heidi.
Thank you. It's nice to be here with you.
Glad to be right here with you, too.
Thank you. We are joined by some very special guests today. I'd like to introduce you to Virginia Siegel and Melissa Wortman. And these two are working with the Midtown Alliance of Neighbors in the AmeriCorps program. And so they're going to tell us today a little bit about the Midtown Alliance of Neighbors and how that works with AmeriCorps and how they came to be in the AmeriCorps program.
Neat.
I'm looking forward to it.
That's great. Do tell us something about each of you, about how you got here and what your background is. And
well, I'm from Piqua, Ohio, and it's a small town about 30 miles north of Dayton. I went to school for historic preservation at the Savannah College of Art and Design. So I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Historic Preservation.
Excellent.
Preservation of old homes. And I found this job listing, and it just appealed to me from, I know Melissa can agree, she has a similar story, but you know, it's working with this program. Well, what we do is we work with low-income homeowners to repair their homes. So it's not preservation of the biggest Victorian homes you can think of, but it's important. It's still helping people stay in their homes.
Preservation of somebody's home, and that's always important.
So that's why I took this position.
Okay.
I have a really similar story. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Interior Design from Rochester Institute of Technology, and I have a Master of Science in Historic Preservation from Ball State University. Similar to Virginia, actually we found the listing in the same place. And ultimately I knew I wanted to do some project management. I knew that I wanted to work in these kinds of neighborhoods that we're working in and help homeowners accomplish something and do that kind of preservation work. So that's ultimately how I landed here.
Well, welcome to Paducah. You both are new to the area, so you're learning a whole new role as well as a whole new neighborhood and state and everything, aren't you?
yeah.
We love it here, though. So.
Good.
Well, and I will tell you, having been on the board that processed your application, you came with such high recommendations. Everybody we talked to was excited about the idea of you all being in this part and doing this work. It's great.
We're I hate to brag about it, but when we were given this position, we were told there were going to be two of us, and that we were told we would really like each other, and they were right. We've been having a blast.
Oh, that's
great.
good. It's a good matchup then.
And tell us about your work here in the Midtown Alliance with the Midtown Alliance of Neighbors in the Fountain Avenue neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we run two major programs. The first is called Repair Fair, and it is priority repairs on owner-occupied homes. The owners are low-income homeowners, some are disabled, some are elderly. We assist them with all kinds of things, repairing bathrooms, windows, porches, minor roof repairs, oh gosh, what am I missing?
Anything they need.
And anything that's considered a priority.
Okay.
Especially, when it's getting close to winter. So people need airtight windows. They need holes in roofs patched.
Right. So we're talking about fundamental, urgent needs.
Anything that can keep their, even just if it means making their bills a little bit lower for the winter months.
Right.
And as I remember the Repair Affair, the granted monies pay for materials.
Right.
And volunteers do all the labor for this.
We have to match the grant that we get for each homeowner with labor, volunteer labor. And some of that labor, of course, is our own, but we also work with several groups of volunteer groups, ranging from St. Mary's High School to the Methodist Men of Fountain Avenue, and just several different churches in the area. Paducah Lifeline Ministries, the rehabilitation facility. Several of their men help us out with majority of the repairs. They're wonderful guys.
So you've got a nice core of volunteers that you work with pretty routinely?
Yes,
That
absolutely.
have some skills that obviously
Yes.
are very necessary. And you guys design the project and organize the volunteers and you're on site.
Right. We visit each site, make sure they have everything they need. If it's the skill we can do, we help ourselves. So windows and drywall, we can do that, so we help too. But really, our volunteers can be anyone who can, if you can wield a paintbrush, we can use your help. If you want to sweep up after the volunteers, that's great, we can use you. So
Or
we can
make lunch on
Right.
the day
Make
of the
lunch,
program.
Yeah.
the project.
So we welcome everyone.
How would they get in touch with you?
Oh, well, we have a website.
Okay.
It would be listed as KY Midtown Alliance of Neighbors.
KY Midtown Alliance of Neighbors.
And
Okay.
it's a .org website.
.org. Okay.
And we also just this past couple weeks launched a Facebook page. So if you type in KY Midtown Alliance of Neighbors on Facebook, you'll be able to find us.
Kind of some pictures and stories about the people that you've been helping.
Absolutely.
And I think they can also you call Fountain Avenue Methodist Church
Yes.
and get in touch with them as well. They
How does the
have an
church
office
work?
out
Our
there.
office is located there.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Office space. What else?
Yeah, well, the really the impetus for this was the city taking Fountain Avenue Fountain Avenue neighborhood as a revitalization area, and so out of the church arose, and the neighborhood arose, this Midtown Alliance of Neighbors group, and so we just keep supporting the good work. The church isn't the primary support now. There's all kinds of support. And the executive director, Sharon Pote, is out of Fountain Avenue.
Yes.
But we provide a place for them to work and to stay and just try to support them in every way we can.
I mean, it's really grown. Melissa was, she was about to tell us we have a second program too, but just, on a tangent on what you said, it did grow out of, this need to revitalize Fountain Avenue neighborhood. And so our organization, Midtown Alliance of Neighbors, focused on Fountain Avenue neighborhood. But Repair Fair, since we're just discussing it, it's grown so much that we now help homeowners across the entire city of Paducah.
Oh, okay.
Because we've helped so many homeowners within Fountain Avenue neighborhood
You're
already.
starting to run out of folks to work with?
We have
Isn't that a
great-
good problem?
We have great numbers. We've helped over 50 homeowners in
That's
Paducah
awesome.
City.
Let's see. Repairing 75 windows, or over 75 windows, I
Yes.
believe at this point. 11, and this is just Repair Fair alone.
Yeah.
11
Porches.
11 roof repairs, 6 porches, and 4 bathrooms.
That's just to name a few.
Yeah.
And that's just since you started with AmeriCorps?
No, that's prior
or-
to us being
That's
here.
the
So
whole
that
program,
actually
yeah.
doesn't include Repair Fair for this year.
Okay.
So that would add a couple of bathrooms, several windows, some roof repair work, a kitchen. So we'll do any kind of repair work.
I think each of those 50 homes could have had as much as $1,000 spent
Yes.
on them.
Okay.
And my experience is that the work, if you had to hire the work done, and none of these people are able to hire it done, that's part of the requirement. But I'm confident that there's $10,000 worth of actual
Oh, I
5
bet.
to 10 worth of work that goes in.
Skilled labor that
So
Yes.
you
knows.
can hear the sort of financial impact that makes on the neighborhood pretty
Right.
quickly.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
You were going to tell us about the second part of the
Yes,
program.
it's called Fan Assist, FAN standing for Fountain Avenue Neighborhood.
Okay.
And that is actually going to be full house rehabilitations on owner-occupied homes. So Repair Fair has grown to be citywide, and a lot of homeowners in the Fountain Avenue neighborhood have already taken advantage of Repair Fair. But there are several homeowners in the Fountain Avenue neighborhood that need more than that.
Okay.
So that's what the Fan Assist program is for homeowners who need $50,000 plus worth of work on their homes. So that's also granted money.
Okay.
We, in that case, rather than, though I'm not for sure yet if we're going to utilize some volunteer labor, likely we will, it's going to be more utilization of contracted labor in order to accomplish those projects. And that's going to get started here soon.
Yeah, we hope to start it soon. I'm excited.
Now, the grant that you spoke of, what grant do you work under? Is it a federal grant, a state grant, a local grant?
It's through Kentucky Housing Corporation, which
Okay.
is a statewide
Sure.
group
Okay.
for both of those programs, actually.
Mm-hmm. And the Fan Assist, again, is for, as you said, it's not just more projects, it's larger projects,
Right,
it's
larger in
structural
scope.
kind of issues. As I know most folks realize, there are a lot of people retiring in place, and their fixed income
Right.
Yes.
sort of crumbles out from under them. And if one or the other spouse dies or gets sick, then the income halves, and then all of a sudden this couple that could keep up a house fine and well,
Right.
all of a sudden it's current circumstances, it's all they can do to keep well. And this is sort of focused at those again, those long-time stakeholders in the area, generally speaking, to help them reestablish
To stay in their home
to
and
stay
to
in their
live
home.
safely in their home, in the
Exactly right.
structure.
Exactly.
Now, the area that Midtown Alliance of Neighbors encompasses, can you give us an idea of what the parameters are of the neighborhood that you're working in?
It stretches from Jefferson Street is the southern boundary, all the way to, what's the?
Let's see,
Park.
it goes from
Park
Jefferson to
Avenue.
Park,
All the way to
Okay.
Park.
and then from Fountain Avenue to, I believe, 13th.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So it's a big area.
Yeah, a lot of exciting work going on. What's a typical
Yes.
day like for each of you these days? I know you
Right now.
started in September, right?
Right.
So you've been in the position for just a couple of months, still
Right.
pretty early. But tell us a little bit about what a day-to-day type of activities you've been doing.
Well, it is slated to change soon because we're doing a lot of follow-up work with our repair fair program.
Okay.
So when we're in the midst of repair fair season, our day is more focused on repair fair. So, pretty soon when we're working on Fan Assist, it might be different. But right now, we get up in the morning, we usually go to Fountain Avenue United Methodist and make copies, do some paperwork, that sort of thing. But around 10, that's when we pick up our volunteers or meet them at the site if they're able to meet us there. And we get started at 10 on location.
Uh-huh.
So do you have anything to add?
When we work on site until about 3 or 3:30, and then either, depending when we work with, it depends on what group we're working with, we'll give them a ride back to where they live, or they'll go for the day at about 3 to 3:30, and then maybe we'll have a few things that we'll finish up at the end of the day
Tomorrow, huh?
ourselves and get ready for the next day. But we're on site from about 10 to 3 or 3:30 every day.
And I'm sure you have to secure materials and supplies.
Yes.
Certainly.
And have everything on hand so that
Lots of driving trips. We're really good gophers.
that's a good way to get to know your new community, really, is to
Right.
get out there and have to find things and find places.
And you're getting the chance to be actual project managers then, it sounds like. in
Absolutely.
all this.
Is this pretty much what you expected when you signed up for AmeriCorps and chose to come to the Paducah area for this particular program? Have there been any surprises? Is it what you expected?
I think it's been better.
Better.
And I don't say that facetiously. I mean, it's really been better. I think I'm more impressed by the volunteers that we work with than I was expecting. We were told when we were applying for the position that we'd be working with a diverse group of people. And, I knew that going into it, but I've just been really impressed with the people I've met. And we talk about it all the time, like all the different just experiences we've had in the day. We always recap at the end of the day, sitting at home, and we just cannot believe some of the people we get to work with. It's great.
Awesome people in this community. I'm not
Resourceful.
from here, so I can say that
Yeah.
too, but I have never lived in a place where folks were so caring and compassionate
Yeah.
and felt a sense of responsibility to help one another, to act, to be called to get up and do something about it. And I think that's a little bit unique, and it is kind of special.
I mean, I was expecting to care more about what I was doing, like the homes themselves, and I didn't think much about the people I'd be working with as much. But for me, I care more about the people than I do about the projects that we're doing. So,
Well, yeah, I'm wondering, you are both design people. have you happened on any interesting design and or architectural kind of features in all these moving around and going around?
I'll let you mention that.
I think always. I mean, because these older homes, every house was constructed differently. So we'll get in to start working, and even if it's just demolition work, and we'll take something down and then just discover how something was done. Like right now, we're working on a home that was maybe constructed around 1900, and the way the walls are constructed is something unusual. You just don't, it's something that you pretty much only see from maybe 1900 to 1910. So it's just really fun to get to see every day how all of these different homes were built. And then putting them back together too, and being sensitive to that is really wonderful.
Yeah.
She's the perfect person to ask, because every day we're driving to a new site, she'll see another house, even if it's not a house we're working on, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I love that house."
And you know what's underneath, what the bones look like, and it really does sound very similar to an archaeological project where you discover things about an entire culture or time period by the way that things were constructed and how life must have been and what kind of materials they had, and so when you see a house, you just don't see a house like we might.
Right.
You're seeing beyond that.
Yeah. AmeriCorps includes a tuition component if you choose to go beyond this. Is that right, or what's the? Do you have some ideas about going studying beyond this, or going against your student loans or whatever else?
Well, I think you're looking to enter the workforce further, right?
I think so. I go back and forth in my head all the time about whether I would want a PhD in American Studies, or it'd probably be more like urban studies, something like that. My advisors in graduate school had really encouraged me to continue on, but I'm just not sure if that's something that I'm interested in. I think maybe I'd want to join the workforce for a little while, and then go back if I was to do something like that.
I am looking to go to grad school because, like I said, I have a BFA. But in answer to your question about AmeriCorps' program, they have its educational award if you complete your required amount of hours of service by the end of the year. And it changes every year, but you can use it to pay existing loans, or you can apply that towards tuition. And it's quite substantial.
Well,
so
that's good.
I think I'm applying to a few grad schools next year for American Studies as well.
Great.
So.
And are there, we know hearing about your work here, and we want to hear more about it, but are there, doesn't the BuildCorps group have a project itself that it does across the state of Kentucky as well as just in the local areas? Or
Well, the BuildCorps itself, its focus, and so we have different types of AmeriCorps service members, but the focus is always to help, I believe it's to help low income, well, it's to help people make sure that they have a roof over their heads. That's the focus. So some people work with helping people stay in their homes with financial literacy, or in our case, the physical home themselves, itself. But you know, our service members do all kinds of things. So I guess we don't have a set project, because one service member might be working at a shelter and just counseling, or helping maybe someone who no longer has a home find how, help place them in a home. But the focus, I guess the project would be to make sure that people have a roof over their heads.
That makes sense. You've got several avenues all going to the same goal, which is safe, affordable housing for everyone, from different angles depending on what's needed.
Yes.
So you've had an opportunity to meet some interesting people in Paducah. Are you, I guess, in some of your statewide AmeriCorps activities, you're getting to hear what some of the other sites are and other programs and some of the other people that are serving? Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
There are groups, I mean, all across Kentucky, not just BuildCorps, but there's groups that are doing tutoring to try to prevent, to try to lower the dropout rate across the state. There's some drug counseling going on across BuildCorps, like Virginia said. There's a lot of people that are doing some construction work like us. There's people that are doing financial literacy training. There's people that are working to find housing for those who've become homeless or who might be at risk of becoming homeless.
Do some domestic violence stuff
Yeah,
too,
there's
don't
some,
they?
and I know another site here in Paducah, there's a service member that's working at a domestic violence shelter, and she does financial literacy training for them and also helps those people secure new housing.
Okay.
But we've been able to meet through conferences all kinds of AmeriCorps service members that, service members who do stuff that's completely opposite of what we do, but we have had huge conferences. Like we were in Frankfurt last month for a big conference, and we got to meet all kinds of people.
Oh, interesting.
And in fact, I met in a different site in Louisville through Habitat for Humanity. I met a service member who I went to school with.
Really? It's a small world.
It was really cool.
Oh.
That's neat. How many AmeriCorps members in Paducah are in the region, generally speaking? Do you know?
Paducah 5, right?
6 actually.
Oh, 6. 5 through Build Corps. 1 through, do you remember?
1 through, I believe it's called the Economic Empowerment Corps.
Oh.
And anybody else in the region, generally speaking? But 6 in Paducah, so
yeah, and
you might bump into.
I believe that the next closest members are at least an hour or longer away from the Paducah area.
Yeah.
So you guys have gotten a good overview of how AmeriCorps can impact communities. You probably also know that AmeriCorps has been teetering on the chopping block of possibly being cut. What would you want people to know about the value of this program and why they should support it remaining and not be cut? What is the value and what would you want people to know about it?
Service members are dedicating a year of their time, and oftentimes 2 years. We know a lot of people who have committed to a second year of service.
Okay.
We don't receive a wage, we receive a living allowance. We're dedicating our time to helping people. And it just seems silly to me that it would be on the chopping block because it doesn't cost as much to have us. We're not being paid. How do I want to say this? It's not.
Yeah,
it's
some
a
ways
small.
you're missionaries.
It's
for
a small
this.
price to pay, and what we do is we're paid a small amount to do so much for free.
In exchange for experience.
In exchange for experience, and other service members, even outside of Paducah, I've seen what they've done, and it's just 100 times. The value is just 100 times more than what they're being paid, and it's just.
Well,
it just seems the most economically viable way.
Right. It's a win-win situation, really, isn't it?
Again, I'm on the board, Midtown Alliance of Neighbors, and if we had to replace these two, it would cost anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000, depending on what level of experience. And that money we'd have to raise, and we couldn't use to take care of the neighborhood housing and all that sort of thing. At this point, their cost to us is very minimum.
So more money's put into
So
materials and
much
supplies,
more
into the
money
nails
goes
and
into the neighborhood.
Right.
The money is diverted where it's most needed.
I'm quite confident it's $100,000 worth of, if you put down the pencil and paper. That I'm talking about materials, labor, kind of things they're organizing. I'm quite confident we would cost us $100,000 to do it if we had to pay for everything, and you all are providing it.
It's
Powerful ways.
AmeriCorps is a program where what funding is put into it is it's multiplied by the hundreds. So it seems silly that it would be.
I think the most important thing to know is just how much we're doing. We're just 2 people, but we're going to help 10 homeowners this season, and that is huge.
That's 10 homeowners that aren't going to be at risk of homelessness because they can't afford to stay in their house,
right,
or become injured or ill because of their house, the condition of their house.
Absolutely.
And be able to maintain their dignity and their pride and self-sufficiency because of the simple repairs that are being done by you guys and the volunteers that you work with.
Right, and like I said, we're just 2 people, so imagine what
Yeah.
that means for having, I think there's 400 plus AmeriCorps members in Kentucky alone.
That's awesome.
That's
So
2
then-
people in 3 months' time.
Yeah, so
So
just kind of extrapolate that nationally and what that must mean. So
It's still early on. How do you imagine this adventure, this learning experience will impact you and change you so that when you leave next August and you go on to pursue more education or another career field, how do you expect to be changed and different because of this year?
again, just the people I won't talk too much because I want you to be able to answer too, but it's the people that I've met. For instance, I mentioned Paducah Lifeline Ministries. It's a rehabilitation facility. That's where, I thought it would be the homes, but it's the people. And just meeting some of the men and hearing their stories, and they teach us the skills that they know too while they volunteer for us. And just the people, I'm just going to carry the people I meet with me, and I'm never going to look at someone the same who's going through rehab, for instance. And that's just one example.
Yeah.
right, and I don't see myself working in any field and that's not service oriented in some way at this point anymore. When I finished my undergraduate degree, I thought, oh, I'm going to be an interior designer, and I guess I saw myself in the corporate world more, and I think now that's just not. I think I'm going to find myself in a very service oriented position from here on out, doing this type of work and working with the type of people that are from possibly Lifeline or somewhere as
Right.
part of that. So
Kind of broadening your horizons.
absolutely.
Well, I think we just really appreciate having you in the community and,
Really
and your
do.
willingness to come here and,
Yes.
and give of yourselves for 12 months. And thank you.
Thank you.
It's great when we come to Paducah too, because the community has been so welcoming of us.
Good.
So,
Yeah,
great.
we
Good.
certainly appreciate it.
Fountain Avenue United Methodist Church.
Yeah. That's great. Well, we are very glad you all are here among us and gathering all kinds of important things, accomplishing all kinds of important things. We're glad you all have been here with us as well today at this Reflections program sponsored by the Paducah Cooperative Ministry, where we, all of us together, do God's work with human hands. Until next time, shalom.